and I made him watch.
Hello and welcome to And I Made Him Watch, the podcast where I make my husband watch weird movies for my enjoyment. I'm your host, Danny Page, and here with me forever and always, my September Virgo, filmmaker and husband, Troy Allen. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Bringing out the zodiacs in this one.
Yeah. We're Virgos.
We're both Virgos. I'm an August Virgo though, so.
Yeah, we don't like confrontation. So,
No, not really.
No.
I like to be chill.
Yeah. So.
I love other people's drama though.
Oh yeah, I love the tea, as it were.
Yes, I do love me some scorching tea that
Yeah.
doesn't involve me in any way.
No.
I just want to know what's happening in other people's lives. Because my life is so chill, it's boring.
Gotta keep it exciting, for sure.
Yeah, I get that excitement through other people's lives and their trauma and drama and stuff. You know? I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Very nice.
So I made you watch 1977's Suspiria, where a New York ballerina moves to Germany to go to this world-renowned school, where a mysterious killer keeps killing the students and the staff. I love this movie. I gave it an 8 out of 10. It is, honestly, it's such a beautiful movie. Obviously, it's not a perfect 10, because there are some issues that, I can't overlook, but for the majority of the film and overall for the substance of it, it's an 8, definitely.
Yeah, it's a very good movie. It's very artsy.
Yes.
Kind of something that I could picture, Stanley Kubrick making back in the day, or a Robert Eggers earlier film.
Really?
Kind of like The Lighthouse, how it was kind of artsy.
Yeah.
It's obviously is way different than The Lighthouse, but because there's a lot of color and contrast and a lot of composition in the film. But and the story's good too. The story's not bad.
It's not bad.
No.
Not bad.
And it kind of makes me realize there's not really a whole lot of witch movies. I don't feel like.
There are a lot of witch movies.
Yeah,
yes.
Maybe it's just a not recently thing. But I don't know.
Well, it is an Italian horror. It's a Galio. Galio?
Mm-hmm.
Galio.
Galio?
Galio?
Something like that, yeah.
You know what I'm talking. So I get, where you get that art house film type of vibe from it. Because it is very much that Italian, 70s Italian horror type of movie. Yeah. And they usually went all out when they did those types of movies, so. We get a pretty intense intro to Suspiria. The opening credits are this pitch black background with this very bold, unique font. There are these very intense and eerie sounds, creating this very uneasy and almost hurried type of atmosphere as the credits are rolling in. Our narrator informs the audience that Susie Bannion? How did you...
Banyan?
Banyan? It's something like this. Susie Bannion or something.
Yeah.
A ballet student had made the trip from New York to Germany to attend the famous ballet school. After an intense screeching violin, the movie cuts to Susie arriving in Germany. As Susie walks through the airport, she seems a little unsure about her surroundings. She already seems like she is suspicious and on edge. Mm-hmm. It makes me very uneasy how they shot this as well, because they do these very long close-ups of Susie that are almost calm, and then how it switches to the shot of the airport entrance, and the music would not blare, but it's like a screeching violin. And as these people are leaving the airport, it's pitch black outside, and their bodies kind of just disappear past the doors, and it's very eerie.
Yeah.
So it is dark and storming outside as Susie arrives, and she fails to hail a taxi. She finally gets a taxi by standing in the middle of the road. The girl had to get out into the road to get a taxi to stop for her for some reason. The taxi driver is kind of an asshole about how she's pronouncing her German words. And Susie is forced to press this paper with the name of the school on like the divider of the taxi for the driver to see it. And also it was a shot that was pretty cool as well, because you get these angles of just Susie's big like eyes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It kind of makes you realize, like, no wonder people are becoming fucking like evil witches and stuff. I mean, you got these asshole cabbies just...
He was an asshole, yeah.
Running amok, you know? Gotta clean them up, as it were. Not that I know anything about that. Mm-mm. I'm just saying, like, you know, look at me going off on a tangent.
Oh, well, was it a tangent?
Anyways, yeah, she almost got ran over.
She did. She really had to get out there.
Yeah.
And physically, like, put herself in front of a taxi for it to stop.
Yep.
Susie is played by Jessica Harper, by the way, in this movie. So Susie takes the ride with the taxi driver, and they have lots of impressive imagery here as we're introduced to Freiburg, which is where the school is. We have a lot of establishing shots of buildings and how much water is all over the place. Like, water is a big thing for some reason during this whole movie. Lots of elements of water. And through the use of lightning... Oh, I thought the use of the lightning was very well done. Yeah. Especially the lighting reflecting into the taxi to give it more movement. Because she's in the back of the taxi, and there's this long moment of just moving through the town and seeing the shots of the city that they're in, and it's raining and the weather, and Susie's just back there, like, damping herself off, and like, you know.
Yeah. Okay, so here's how I pictured they shot those shots of her in the back seat. Okay, so what you do is you get like a water hose or something like that and put it on the top of the car, right? So the water is running off the back of the car. You got to see the water in the rear view or the rear window. And then you've got somebody outside the window with these like light wands, and you're just moving these light wands past the window so it looks like the light is passing by. And that's how you do a moving car on a budget.
What do you mean by light wands?
So sometimes you can have like tube lights or something like that. Like, you ever seen like a fluorescent tube light?
What about the 70s? Did you think they still use that same? Okay.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if you were doing something like that on a budget, I mean, they might not have. I'd have to look it up, but they probably had fluorescent tubes and stuff back then. And you could get them in many different colors, too. Just the same way you would have, like, neon lights and stuff like that.
You can cut that. I'll cut it out of this.
That's fine.
We can leave it in the Patreon, but...
Oh, yeah.
I'll cut it out of the rough draft. Okay, so Susie finally arrives to the school, which is called Tanz Akademie. I think is... Academia?
Something.
Academie.
Which is not very academic.
No.
It's just a school. It's a dance school.
Which this building, can we just talk about this building? You're seeing all these like dark visuals and like some minor lighting as they drive in the cab. And then suddenly this bright blood red fortress just emerges from the dark storm. It's crazy. And the color, they made the color red so vibrant here. It's shocking almost. It's so gorgeous though.
It's almost like it's supposed to be larger than life. It's supposed to be like overbearing.
Well, it's this really important school to Susie, so I can understand how they wanted to put that type of emotion to her arriving to this new place. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it is a really nice building though, for sure. Yeah.
So Susie gets her things from the taxi when a student from the school comes out, and she's like hanging in the front of the doorway, and the storm is going on, so you can't see it. And I couldn't really catch what she was saying, which was the point. But she flees from the school and into the woods. Then when Susie tries to get into the school, she is denied and tries to explain her situation, but is still denied by whoever's answering the door, like the call button. and is forced to go back in town. And while driving back to town, she sees the girl that fled the school running through the woods. Also, these shots, man, the stylization and lighting for this movie is art. Mm-hmm. The way that the contrast between the shadowy trees as she's moving forward, and it's almost like kind of jumpy, because once she moves behind a tree, it's almost like she's not there, and then she reappears in the light. Those shots,
yeah, we actually saw those same woods when she was first going to the school.
Yes.
And it's very it's interesting in a way that you have these trees and they're like almost like vertical lines. Like, I guess the best way to describe it is like looking at a barcode or something like that.
Well, they also, the tree, they have removed all the lower branches. So it's just the trunk of the tree.
And they're all like pine trees, so they're very slender trees. And in that first scene, when we first see the car driving through the woods, you have all these trees, the vertical lines, and then you have the taxi with its headlights in the pitch black. And it's going almost like going against the grain, against the flow. So that's partly why I like that sequence. And then in the second scene, and we see the woman running and stuff, it's almost just as jarring. It's very
so good.
Yeah.
That was the moment I knew that this movie was going to be good. Mm-hmm. Like, that visual of her running, I'll never be able to get out of my head. It's so hauntingly beautiful.
I also pictured that meme of, I don't know if it's like a African television show or something like that, but the dude's just like, why are you running?
I think it's from like a soap drama or a soap opera or something from like South Africa, maybe.
Oh man, I just thought it was so funny.
So the girl that fled the school, that's like leaving the school, her name is Pat. And she makes it to her friend's apartment looking for a place to stay for the night. She tries to explain what's going on over at the school, but she's having issues communicating clearly and isn't using her words very properly. Pat is played by Eva Axon. We see a lot of bold symmetry they did in the 70s in this movie, especially in this apartment complex and in the lobby. You have these such big, bold colors and these, like, how the stairs meet at a certain point and lines up perfectly with the rest of the room, and it looks like a corner. It's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. And the color palette is like all these very vibrant, like reds and blues. I think there's gold as well, and then you have the stained glass window that's also symmetrical. The way that this movie was shot was so well thought through. I appreciate it so much.
Yep, and that stained glass window is going to come in super important here soon.
Is that all you got for that?
That's all I got.
That's all you got? Okay. So while Pat is by herself trying to gather her thoughts, a window is suddenly opened by a gust of wind. And when Pat's friend comes in to check on her, she simply closes the window and she tries to pressure Pat into talking about what happened. But, she's not coming for it. And also these fucking shots here too with that room, that salmon colored room with these like mint colored, like, was it birds or something? It's weird, but these shots were really good too.
Yeah. When the window blew open, it's like the other girl, which I don't know if does she say her name?
No.
But she like immediately barges in and is like, why didn't you just close it? And it's like, bro, this shit just blew open. Like, give it a second, man, because, I've got to process shit, Jeez.
So, back by herself, Pat is looking around the room and goes to look out the window. Her and the window have this little moment between themselves as well. Like, she looks back and the window does a creepy fluttering, and she looks back again and the window does a creepy fluttering thing, and it's... Anyway, so when Pat gets a little too close, some yellow eyes flash from the darkness, and then an arm crashes through the window and grabs Pat. The friend rushes out of the apartment and starts running around trying to get someone to help within the apartment complex. The mysterious being then stabs Pat and wraps her up with some plastic cord and hangs her body from the skylight of the apartment building. Also, the friend dies as the glass from the skylight impales on her. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, very good use of the old retractable blade shtick.
Oh yeah, there was so much stabbing.
Like, and it was, I don't know, it was kind of uncalled for, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know, it's like the disembodied arm, as it were, would just like stab her, like almost like he's poking her, and she's just over there like.
So yeah, the dying scenes and the special effects and stuff aren't great for this movie. They aren't great, but that doesn't mean it's not a good movie. There
are some really good gruesome fucking death scenes.
There are, yeah.
This one in particular was good just because, that's personal preference, okay?
Okay.
I liked it because he wraps her up, or whoever it is, wraps her up in the cord, and then when she falls, the cord slips and fucking hangs her around the neck, And as the camera pans, that's when you see that the friend was also impaled by the falling glass and stuff. So I thought that was a really neat way.
The special effects for her, like the face, was really good. But like the little, her arm right here, where it's just this little tip of this huge piece of glass.
Yeah,
it's a little ridiculous. It's just a little ridiculous.
It's 1977. Like, they did what they had to do.
Yeah. So, the next morning, Susie arrives at the school after a blind man, Daniel, the pianist, who, arrives early and then leaves his CNI dog outside. That's important for later. I don't understand why he leaves his, dog outside, because it's a disability. He should have his dog at all times, honestly.
Yeah, and plus, there ain't no damn shade out there.
No, he's just out in the middle of the courtyard type of thing.
Ain't got no water.
No water, no food, no shade.
The fuck, man. Jeez.
That's abuse.
Yeah.
Susie meets Miss Tanner, who is the head instructor, and then also Madame Blanc, who is the deputy headmistress. They let Susie know that the room is not, her room isn't ready yet, and she will have to live in town with another student. Mrs. Tanner is portrayed by Alida Valli, and then Mistress Blanc is played by Joan Bennett. There are also some detectives asking about Pat and what happened before she left the school. Madame Blanc informs them that she was expelled due to misconduct. Ooh.
Dun dun.
So Tanner introduces Susie to the rest of the female students. It's a co-ed school, by the way. So it's not just female. There are males here, but they doesn't really pay attention or focus on them. Olga introduces herself, and is the student that Susie will be living with in town. Susie then meets Sarah, and Olga makes a comment about people with S names are snakes. Like, what?
Okay. Fuck you, bitch. Who the hell are you talking to?
Sarah is played by Stephanie Cassini, and Olga is played by Barbara Magnolfi.
That sounds like a pasta dish. I'm kind of hungry.
You know what you did.
I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about, okay? And matter of fact, I feel discriminated against.
At Olga's, Susie and her host are having conversation. It seems like they're both getting along and hitting it off. One of the male students drops Susie's things off for her, as Olga is on the phone, definitely not eavesdropping. Totally not listening to Susie and this guy's conversation. Olga kind of teaches Susie about the student and tells her that he is broke. Like broke. The conversation comes back around about Pat and Susie, and that Susie had seen her when she arrived. And Susie tries to recall what Pat had been saying, and it's something about secrets and an iris, like a flower iris.
All I know is Olga missed like half of that damn phone call. Like she's over there like just covering the mouthpiece and talking to Susie, and it's like at this point I feel like you might as well just like hang up and start over again. Really, like just. Yeah, man.
Olga is a multi-talented, or multitasker.
Also, after this scene, I don't remember seeing Olga again.
No, she's mentioned, but I don't think we really see her again. No. So the next day in class, Sarah asks how things are going at Olga's. And Mistress Blanc lets Susie know that her room is free now. And Susie's like, no, I'm going to stay with Olga. Like, I'm chilling at Olga's. Miss Tanner is impressed by Susie for standing up to her, like, for herself. And then Susie has a staring contest with one of the helpers at the school who shines, like, this reflective knife into Susie's eyes. While Albert, Mrs. Blanc's strange rat-faced nephew, watches. That boy looked like a rat. He don't have any lines. He's silent for the complete, like, the movie.
He looks
just in the background.
He looks like that.
He looks like an albino child.
He looks like the albino version of that berries and cream dude. You remember that? Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little lad who loves berries and cream. I shit you not, dude. Even with like the way he's dressed.
Yeah, he's got this like
weird.
little like proper like almost like lacy type of like get up. I don't know how to explain it.
I don't know. It comes across as like French aristocrat.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. Anyways.
Where was I? Okay. So Susie feels a little weird and is struggling to keep up with Miss Tanner's lesson. Miss Tanner pushes Susie to follow the lesson, and as she follows, she becomes weaker and weaker as she moves around. Miss Tanner really pushing her to continue until Susie finally passes out in the middle of the lesson.
That poor girl. Poor Susie. She faints in the middle of the damn dance floor. She's bleeding from her nose and mouth, and everybody's just kind of staring.
Yeah.
You know? Like, she's supposed to, like, morph, like do some animorph shit.
What animal?
She's turning into a fucking...
What animal would Susie anamorph into?
A weasel. A fucking prairie dog.
You said weasel first. I'm wondering why weasel.
A fucking gopher, man. I don't know.
Some sort of rodent, I guess.
She got, like, a small face.
She do have a small face. Her head is big, but her face is kind of... It's too squished together.
If she were an animorph, her other form would be something that burrows.
What about a ferret?
Could also be, like a noodle cat.
She's thin and lanky, too.
Yeah.
You know?
Nimble.
Nimble. She's a ballerina.
She's a noodle cat.
A noodle cat.
Burrows. Yeah.
So the faculty have moved Susie into a room onto the school campus kind of thing or whatever. And Miss Tanner is forcing Susie to drink more water. It turns out that after doing all that movement and stuff has caused some hemorrhaging. Then Professor Vadegrast, how do they pronounce his name?
I don't know. Verdegast?
Gives Susie some kind of shot to help her recover. It's not explain what they give her. It doesn't explain what he's professor of, but they call him professor, and he gives her a shot.
Oh, you know what it is.
What is it?
It's that fucking black tar heroin is what it is. She said later on, she was like, I'm feeling fucking good. Fucking butterfly in the sky, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Also, fucking Miss Tanner, she wasn't forcing Susie to drink. She was waterboarding that bitch.
She really kind of was waterboard. Like, she was forcing that water down.
That's a war crime, bro. I'm just saying. Maybe she should seek out a different school.
Oh, I wrote, I'm not sure what type of professor Verdigras is, and I'm not sure he should just be out here giving people shots.
That's his street name. Verdigras. They just call him the professor.
Professor V.
Yeah. He got that stank on him.
Oh my god. Anyways, so Susie realizes that Olga has brought her stuff to the school, forcing Susie to start living at the school. So, Susie is no longer living with Olga. She has to stay at the school, just like the teachers wanted her to, I guess. Also, it turns out Sarah is in the next room over. That's nice.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like conjoined rooms too. They have a door between, like, outwards, and then like a door between the rooms.
Yeah.
So they can pass back and forth.
Yeah, it's just I just feel like it's fucked up that Susie got evicted like after like a day of living there.
Oh, I don't think she was evicted. I'm pretty sure she passed out at school, and then the teachers were like, "Okay, let's set her up in the room. Go get her shit." And Olga was like, "Okay."
Okay, well maybe evicted is the wrong word.
Yeah.
It was kidnapped. She was kidnapped.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Susie lets Sarah knows what happened. You know, they looked after her, gave her a shot, and for some reason she's surprised that Vertigas checked on her. It doesn't come up again in the movie. She was just like, "Oh, he came to see you? That's, you know, kind of weird." So that evening, the bell rings, warning it's 15 minutes for supper, or until supper. Sarah goes to her room to change while Susie stays in her room taking her food there. They have her on like a special diet of whatever, and then also like a bunch of wine, apparently. Like, she's supposed to be drinking wine, apparently, for the hemorrhaging.
I don't think that's wine, you know.
While Susie and Sarah get ready in opposite rooms, they seem to like start to fidget with their hair at the same time, as if something is touching them. Susie examines her hair and pulls a maggot out. The small larvae are also stuck in her comb, and she looks up and sees hundreds of larvae on the ceiling. Just creak. I hate it. Outside in the hallway, all the other students have found their own maggots in their hair and on their clothes. Tanner storms up into the attic looking for the source of the bugs. She then finds a shipment of spoiled food rotting in the attic, forcing the students to sleep in one of the studios all together.
Dude.
Like camp, but not.
I mean, I do have to point out, though, it's probably the best cameo I've seen in a film. I mean, the maggots from City of the Living Dead, you know, just showed up on set one day. And they were just like, yeah, I'll be in it for a cup of coffee, you know, and they're just all over the damn place.
And they're like, all right, let's set up this shot for you. We'll, you know, just be yourself, and we'll do the work.
Also, I'd like to make mention of something that, what's her name, Miss Tanner, the teaching lady. The teaching lady. She said something earlier that I thought was savage as fuck, dude.
What? Which part?
What's the handyman's name?
Oh,
like Pablo or something. Pablo's or
something.
Something like that. P. She just straight up called that dude fucking ugly.
She is
to his face.
He.
I was like, bro, holy shit.
She's like, he can't understand, but you see his face fall, like.
Yeah, dude.
And then talking about his teeth.
Poor dude. That poor man. I mean, to be fair, he is ugly, but you don't say something like that to their face. Do. Yeah, because she's savage, dude.
She is a savage.
She don't give AF.
Nope.
Man.
So the students settle down in their cots for the night. Sarah is struggling to go to sleep, and she begins to hear the laboring and gasping of something trying to breathe. She then wakes Susie up to listen to the strange sounds. Sarah recognizes the sounds of the breathing of that of the head mistress, who is supposed to be out of town. Like, she's not supposed to be around the school. Sarah lets her know that she had lived in one of the guest rooms when she had arrived at the school, and one night she heard something entering the room next to hers, and the breathing and the snoring and the gasping are the same sound she was hearing. That was the night that the headmistress had slept in the room, and that's how Sarah knows that the one now making all the raspy breathing sounds is the headmistress or something like that.
All I know is she need a damn like breathing treatment or something.
She do be struggling.
She got asthma.
Be struggling. She got the asthma. She got the
She got that emphysema. That's what it is.
She got the breathing mask for her sleep apnea.
Her sleep apnea.
Yeah, her CPAP machine.
She gotta have it.
Is it CPAP?
Yeah. She gotta have it or she'll die, yo.
She sounds like she is on her last breath. Like gonna inhale like one last cigarette.
Dude, she got that fucking. She got that Darth Vader shit going on. Dude. I don't even know.
The next morning, Susie asked Tanner if the headmistress was at the school last night, and Tanner's like, "Nah, girl, get back to class." And while everyone is in class, the strange servant and Albert, the one that was with Albert in the hallway when they like blinded Susie or whatever, are walking to the school, and they're staring Daniel's CNI dog down. Like, Daniel's in the building doing his thing, earning his money, and his dog is outside, and you don't see it, but we as the audience hear the dog growling and the boy squeal, and it's a big old dramatic thing, but Tanner ends up firing Daniel.
Yeah, I noticed that the servant lady, she reminds me of the matchmaker from Mulan. Yeah, you can see it, can't you? In your eye, your mind's eye there.
It's there now. It's there forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's fucked up. Firing Daniel like that.
Oh yeah.
He got a disability. Yeah.
Also, we don't see the boy hurt or anything. Like, it was just sounds.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we just supposed to believe you? Is that it? I need to see the body. You know what I'm saying?
So, that night, Sarah sits with Susie, and they listen as the teachers leave the school for the night. But a dozy or drowsy Susie then says that she doesn't think that they are leaving the school. She knows that the footsteps are actually headed to the right and not the left, where the front door to the school is. Sarah's trying to get Susie to stay the fuck awake, but I'm pretty sure our girl Susie is being drugged at this point in time, and Sarah gets the idea to start counting the steps, trying to figure out where they're going.
Yep. That's some real fucking Hardy Boy shit going on.
Yeah. Some
fucking Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
Fucking Scooby-Doo, where are you? Fucking Rut-Row Raggy.
I'm laughing at what I wrote next.
What is it? Let's hear it.
Meanwhile, Daniel is watching some clog dancing at a local pub. The character Daniel is blind.
He is a blind man.
He is not watching clog dancing.
I don't think he's watching much of anything, to be honest with you. Watching the back of his eyelids. Poor Daniel. Those fucking clog dancing dudes, they look like they slapping the shit out of each other too. I do not understand what the dance was, but I don't want to do it.
They've got the lederhosen and everything on too.
Dude, lederhosen and just fucking
getting down.
And the slaps are more like a backhand, but they're taking turns backhanding each other.
They're German. Who knows, man?
Oh man, they go hard, dude. Hard.
So, he's then escorted from the pub and begins to walk home alone with his dog. Also, it seems like Daniel is being watched a little bit as we watch him move through the dark streets and stuff, and his dog starts to freak out at something, but it's not visual to the viewer, and obviously not to Daniel as well.
Nah, you don't say.
Daniel stands in this empty like courtyard with these massive column buildings as we see these shadows move across the buildings, and then all of a sudden his dog attacks him and then eats him a little bit.
Yeah, he just wanted a snack.
Little
midnight snack. Some nom-noms. Also, I'd like to point out, these buildings look fake as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
They look
like
in the middle
facades. Of nowhere.
Yeah. What, I don't know if it was just the lighting, but you couldn't see anything past the facades. But yeah, it just looked fake to me. But, you know, that's cinema.
That's cinema.
That's movies.
The next morning, the students talk about what happened to Daniel and that they think the school is cursed. Susie goes to question Mistress Blanc and questions about what's been going on around the school. And she tells Blanc that she heard Pat say the words secret and iris. And Blanc calls the police and lets them know what Susie heard, apparently. Sarah and Susie have a talk. Turns out Sarah was the one Pat had been talking to the night she was murdered. And she also was the one that answered the door but wouldn't let Susie in on the night she arrived. Sarah informed Susie that Pat had been taking notes on what's going on around the school. Sarah tells her there is only one other person that knows about the notes. And when Sarah goes to Susie, that night, Susie is sedated again and can't keep her eyes open.
Well, I mean, that fucking Professor V, be handing out that fucking heroin, dude. She's just out of it.
What's with you and the heroin?
I don't know.
You need to tell me something?
No.
You sure?
I am sure.
All right, don't be playing no horse around my house, okay?
Horse?
Yeah.
What's that?
Heroin is.
How do you know that? How do you know that? Huh? Wow.
Because I'm educated.
We got secrets, people.
No.
Secrets.
No.
Anyways. Yeah, I don't know. Like, had I been in Susie's position and found out that Sarah wouldn't let me in, we'd be fighting. Because it was raining. It was raining hard.
It was raining
hard.
He's worried about that sky water.
Like, you bitch. It's wet out here.
Sarah turns the light off in Susie's room and listens from the room as someone moves and giggles outside the door. Sarah watches the light from her room turn on, and then she sneaks from Susie's room. She is kind of chased and maneuvered through the school by these shadows and disembodied voices, kind of. And as Sarah tries to silently move through the school, trying to find a place to hide, she is attacked by a shadow lingering in the hallway. And that moment, that shit made me jump. I'm not even kidding. When one of the doors or the hidden doors in the hallway kind of opens, and you think that's where something's going to come from, but she's able to move from that, and she moves around like this column kind of, and it's just pitch black behind her. And when that thing grabs her, I screamed. I jumped and I screamed.
I mean, that makes sense. That's fair. That is fair.
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
You did not get jump scared?
Typically with like older movies, not really, because I think of it as I've been like desensitized by more modern horror. Yeah. So watching like a horror from the 70s or earlier than that, like, it's not real enough to me, I feel like. So, I don't know. But what happens to Sarah...
Yeah, you want to get into it? We'll get into it.
We'll get into it,
okay. So, Sarah manages to get away from the attacker, and she's able to lock herself into this room. She then begins to stack these old suitcases on top of each other, trying to reach the single window in the room as the attacker tries to unlatch the door. Sarah is able to climb through to the next room and sees an open door. She then jumps to the floor that is filled with razor wire. Yeah, she totally just didn't see the razor wire from the window, or just like by looking down. Like, it's rolls upon rolls upon rolls of like this razor wire, and she just jumped into it.
I don't even know what to say.
I don't even know what to say either.
I
Disappointment.
would say that the stupidity in this scene. First, you got this killer trying to unlatch this door, right?
Yeah. Would have been
Literally
totally
just
easy.
like lift up
Yeah.
on it. Like just lift up. Because he's got like this straight razor shoved through the door jamb.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Yeah,
latch
he's
is
one-
like, yeah, just
One good one.
one good one.
But he keeps
Oh.
going.
Yeah, just kind of toying it. Like, and then her, I kind of equate it to, you know, that opening scene in Zoolander when all the models are like spraying themselves with gasoline and stuff, and then one of them lights the fucking cigarette or whatever.
I do know that scene, yeah.
That's what this is. This is like literally just look down. Like, there's no way you couldn't have seen it.
You know what? They needed an out for Sarah.
I guess, dude.
They needed
I
somehow
guess.
else to kill her, and they wanted to try to do it in a more interesting way. So why not have her jump into a room full of razor wire?
Oh my god! Like, why not just make it a room full of fucking rabid cats? You know? Imagine getting clawed to death by cats.
Oh god!
Yeah, but I will say there is a really good practical effect in this scene.
What's that?
When she gets her fucking throat cut.
Mm.
So I think, I'm not entirely sure, but they must have gotten like a dead pig or something like that, or like, I don't know, some sort of like practical effect where when he cuts her throat with the razor wire, it looks like he's cutting real fucking meat. And I shit you not, dude, I'm like, holy fuck, bro. Like, and for set 1977.
Yeah.
For context, this is the same year that Star Wars came out, okay?
Yep.
And we just watched, for all intents and purposes, somebody get their fucking throat cut in a movie.
It was probably some sort of animal or
That, or
really
maybe,
good wax work, maybe.
Yeah, or maybe like they made it out of like gelatin or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be pretty good. But anyways.
So Sarah's dead, obviously. We just went over that. The next morning, Susie looks for Sarah, and Tanner's like, yeah, she just like left without telling anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Susie then calls Sarah's friend that knew about the notes and the weird stuff going on at school and lets him know that she's gone missing from school, like she's run away. Turns out Sarah's friend is Dr. Frank Mandel, who had previously treated Sarah after her mother's death. And after Sarah's treatment, the two had stayed friends, and recently she had become obsessed with the history of the school and its origins. It turns out the school was founded by Helena Marcos, who had a dark history and was exiled from several different countries. She was known as the Black Queen. She also might have been a witch, maybe.
It's alluded to. Maybe.
To.
Also, whoever that fucking other dude was, the blonde-haired dude, the broke dude,
Oh, yeah.
I think he was in on it too.
Oh, the
'Cause he-
student guy?
Yeah, because he also said that he saw Sarah getting in a car or whatever,
Yeah.
which was a
Well,
lie.
if you remember, Olga tells Susie that the guy is under Tanner's thumb because he's so poor. So he has to like do all the tasks and stuff and chores.
Which also includes covering.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
Mandel introduces Susie to a professor of the occult studies, Professor
Milius?
Milius. Then we get a lot of the witches are evil talk, and he tells Susie about all the witchy stuff, and he explains that what a coven is, and the whole typical witch movie stuff. Later that evening, Susie is actually left alone in the school, as the rest of the school has gone to see a ballet show in town, and no one had told her or invited her, which is actually really sad. Susie then calls Dr. Frank and tries to let him know what's going on, but due to the storm, the call is dropped. Susie then proceeds to dump the food from her dinner into the toilet and down the sink drain. And I'm not sure what they used for the drink stuff, but it looked like it actually stained the sink. It looked like it was like sticking to the sink and not just like normal water.
So earlier when you were mentioning what the food was that they gave her and stuff, you said wine, and I said I don't think it was wine, and that's because of this. Because when she pours it down the sink, because it stains the sink so bad, I don't think it was wine. I think it was blood. Like I think it was some sort of like. I think it was some sort of occult shit.
I was thinking that maybe it was just the special effects and whatever they had used to look like wine. But it might be actually that it's supposedly to be blood.
Yeah.
And that's why. Okay.
Yeah, would put her in like a trance or like
Well, I think he also were like putting drugs in
probably.
Yeah.
Old Professor V's got it down locked, you know.
Fucking Professor V, man. Can't trust him.
In the scene where she's talking to that Professor Emilius guy or whatever, there's a really interesting shot where it's a 2-shot and you see, you know, them talking to each other and the camera zooms through them, through them, and focuses on their reflection in the window in the background.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because you don't see the camera in the window. And I feel like that's skill. That's groundbreaking for that day and age. I feel like so. I thought that was really interesting.
I knew that you were gonna love the shots from this. Like the cinematography in this movie is just
it was
phenomenal.
well done. Yeah, it was well done.
Like going from what we've been watching to going back to like Italian horror is so refreshing. Almost actually.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
I feel like they try really hard to get things right, and I like that. I appreciate that.
Susie begins to get ready for bed, but when she opens her closet, she is attacked by a bat. The bat then falls to the floor and like hops over to Susie, who then proceeds to cover it with a towel and smash it with a tool. That bat did nothing wrong and deserves justice. Nothing wrong with that bat. You know, just open the window. Let the bat out, Susie.
For some reason, I pictured Laszlo from What We Do in the Shadows. And he was like, bat. And then he got stuck in the fucking closet. And then she comes along and she opens the closet and he gets stuck in her hair or something. She's like, oh, fuck, sorry about that. Sorry. You know, and then she's just freaking out. And then he gets fucking crippled. And then she just smashes him with the damn stool. It's like, that's a unfortunate series of events, dude.
Yeah, that poor bat. Like she smashes him, smashes that bat,
and it squeals. It makes some sounds, some choice sounds.
Later that night, Susie begins to hear the footsteps. She finds one of Sarah's notes and recalls her conversation with Sarah about the direction the steps were taking. Susie begins to count the steps following Sarah's note, and she figures out that she can find out where the teachers are going by counting their footsteps. She then begins to follow and count the footsteps which lead her across the school to a door.
Dun dun.
Dun dun.
This is when it really starts to become some fucking rut-row raggy shit, bro.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
This door seems to go back to the back of like the school where the servants are, like in the kitchen is like all this the court, like where the teachers would live. They lived like it's a whole different separate like building almost, and it's huge. And Susie is about to sneak by 2 women and go deeper into the school, and she's able to sneak by. Susie then finds a room with carpets and notes, and this is where the footsteps stop because of the carpet. She begins to search the room, looking for another way out. And as Susie begins to space out over this painting of irises on the wall, her brain connects what she was seeing to what Pat said the night Susie arrived. The secret I saw behind the door. 3 irises turned the blue one.
Man.
It was intense, right?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I was like, hell yeah. Full circle.
Yeah.
Finally came around it, you know?
Yeah.
Man.
So, Susie turns the blue iris and a secret door opens. It leads Susie into this like blue velvet curtained area down a secret passageway.
Secret tunnel.
Secret tunnel.
Okay.
Susie then discovers that this school is run by a coven Miss Blanc claims that they have to get rid of the American, quote unquote, and she needs to die. Susie witnesses Mistress Blanc call out to Helena Marcos and drink something, then curses Susie. She then discovers the mutilated body of Sarah on a sacrificial altar. She flees when the handyman, the ugly guy, Pablos, comes into the room, finding the room of the headmistress gasping and snoring away. Susie then ends up making so much damn noise. It wakes the headmistress, who claims to be Helena Marcos, who is this like disembodied voice and taunts Susie. And then a coffin bursts open, revealing the living dead Sarah wielding a knife. Susie then looks back to the empty bed and sees this like glimpse of something, like this outline of a woman. She then takes a moment to think about what she's going to do: attack the zombie Sarah or attack the invisible bitch on the bed. She then stabs the invisible Helena, causing Sarah to disappear. So, with the death of their coven leader, the school and all of Helena's followers begin to crumble and die. Susie slowly makes her way out of the school as everything is all windy and things are crashing and doors are being forced open. Yeah.
It's almost like think ending of Jurassic Park.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Susie makes it out of the school and she kind of just idly walks away, kind of laughing at herself as it rains. And then the window explodes and credits roll.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Yeah, that was a wild ride.
And then I did all this research for you to read, Troy.
Oh, I'm reading this?
You can read it.
Okay. So, Suspiria is an Italian supernatural horror film directed by Dario Argento, and it is one of the most iconic and influential films in the horror genre. Known for its vivid use of color, striking cinematography, and eerie soundtrack, Suspiria has achieved cult status among horror fans. Considering the film's cult status and long-lasting influence, Suspiria is often seen as a prime example of how creativity can overcome budgetary limitations to produce something memorable and influential. The budget was approximately $3.5 million. This was a relatively modest budget, especially for a film with such elaborate visual and sound design. Despite the financial constraints, Dario Argento and his team were able to create a visually stunning and atmospherically rich film, which has since become iconic in the horror genre. The budget was used efficiently, particularly in the film's production design, special effects, and the vibrant color palette, which became one of the film's most distinctive features. This film was full of reds and blues.
Yes.
Like so much red and blue.
All very contrasting colors, yes.
Yeah. There's actually a shot where Susie is standing in this door frame and the door itself is like really bright red. And her silhouette being contrasted by that is really nice, really interesting. The use of real locations in Germany and Italy combined with carefully crafted sets helped maximize the impact of the budget. The music by Goblin, which also played a crucial role in the film's atmosphere, was another key investment.
Yeah, so what they had, the materials they had to work with and what they brought forth and were ended up with is amazing. There are some parts where the acting is a little off or it just is a little falls kind of flat, but how they used those certain actors and the actors they put in the roles were perfect for each other. The casting was very great for this. I feel like Jessica Harper as Susie, I think their decisions to make her like the final girl kind of thing was perfect because she has this like doughy-eyed, like innocent kind of thing to her, but she's a survival. You know, like she really is a survivor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's really well done. Our director Dario Argento, known for his giallo films, wanted Suspiria to be a visually striking horror movie. He was inspired by Thomas de Quincey's essay Suspiria de Profundis and aimed to create a dreamlike and nightmarish quality throughout the film.
Have you ever heard of Thomas de Quincey's essay Suspiria de Profundis?
I have not, no.
Okay. So, Suspiria de Profundis is a collection of writings by Thomas de Quincey from the 1840s, many of which were incomplete, and intended to be a sequel to De Quincey's renowned work, Confessions of an English Opium Eater. These writings were similarly rooted in the visionary experiences brought by the author's opium addiction. The collection is encompassed as a wide range of subjects, including standalone ideas, reworkings of early materials, poems, and short stories. And I've said this more than once, and I'm going to say it again. Laudanum is one hell of a drug.
Yeah. Just ask old Percy Shelley and that gang.
Yep.
It's pretty wild.
So yeah, I really feel like they were able to kind of capture that like dream world, like drug-induced like psychosis type of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it really played on the psyche a little bit of what was going on.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the cinematography now?
I mean,
go ahead.
I mean, the cinematography is really good.
I wrote all this for you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Luciano Tovoli is an acclaimed Italian cinematographer and director, best known for his work on visually distinctive films, particularly in the horror and art house genres.
Mm-hmm.
Tovoli is celebrated for his innovative use of lighting and color, which gives his films a unique visual flair. His style is often characterized by bold color schemes, striking contrasts, and creative use of shadows and light, making his cinematography highly distinctive. We can see this clearly in the movie Suspiria. His work on this film is particularly noteworthy for its vibrant, almost surreal color palette. Tovoli employed the technicolor dye transfer process, which was nearly obsolete at the time, to create the film's intense and haunting visuals. The use of colored gels and innovative lighting techniques contributed to the film's eerie and dreamlike atmosphere, making it a landmark in horror cinematography.
So yeah, he used colored gels to create those lighting effects and like the cab and stuff.
I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's very well done though.
So the score was composed by the Italian progressive rock band Goblin, in collaboration with director Dario Argento. The music is integral to the film's atmosphere as its striking visuals, creating a sense of tension, unease, and supernatural dread that permeates the entire movie. This music and score is probably one of the best things about the movie, besides the visuals, which comes first, but this eerie lullaby-like main theme is just oof.
Mm-hmm.
And I investigated the band some more, and it seems most of the music falls into that genre of scores and theme songs for horror movies.
Well, they've done a really good job with this one.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
So, what would you give it, though?
I'm kind of like where you are. Like, I'd probably give it an 8.
Right? It's actually
10,
probably the best movie we've watched so far.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's Suspiria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you ever get a chance, I highly recommend watching it for sure.
It's one of those movies that if you're a horror fan, you definitely need to see this.
Absolutely.
Or if you're just into really like artsy types of movies,
would
probably be good for you too.
Yeah. If you liked The Lighthouse, I'd say you like this.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, where can they find us, Troy?
Well, you can find us on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Apple Podcasts, CastBox, YouTube, or anywhere else you get your podcasts.
Yeah, pretty much.
You can also find us at all of our socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads,
TikTok. As long as it's around.
Yes. So yeah, don't be a stranger.
Yeah.
Pop in and say hello every now and then.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you. And yeah. So as always, stay spooky.